Hello and welcome to Transfermarkt TV. My name is Stefan Bienkowski. He's Manuel, Veth, and today we are talking about one of the biggest transfers of the summer transfer window. Undoubtedly, the biggest transfer that's involved Bayern Munich, involved German football. The second largest, if I'm not mistaken, signing or transfer sale of Tottenham Hotspur. I'm of course talking about Harry Kane's move to Bayern Munich, and fortunate enough to have Manu on the ground in Munich. He's a roving reporter. He was there for the German Super Cup this weekend. He was there for Harry Kane's unveiling, and he's probably the best person in the world to speak to right now about it. So, Manu, from the very warm Munich right now, as we can see, why don't you let us know what the last couple of days were like and what Harry Kane's unveiling at Bayern Munich was like?
Hey, look, it's been utter madness. This the only way to describe it. I've covered Bayern Munich for a long time. Obviously, the city of Munich is my home, even though I live in North America now, right? I was born and raised here. I've seen a few Bayern Munich transfers in my life, and I would say this one is at the very top in terms of, the build up to it, the uncertainty about it, the magnitude of the transfer fee, the characters that were involved, the fact it's the English national team captain, right? Not just a player, but an English national team captain. The fact it's Bayern Munich, the loudest and shrillest and most popular club in this country. I think it was a perfect storm. And then, of course, for a full 48 hours, it was, is he coming? Is he not coming? What's going on? Then he was stuck at the airport. He got the green light to fly, then he did not get the green light to fly, then the plane was booked, the plane was cancelled, the plane was booked again, then he was finally here, and at 2 a.m. he did sign his contract. That's 2 a.m. on Saturday, and then literally that same day he made his debut at the Super Cup, and the madness continued straight up into the Super Cup. I went to the Bayern Munich team store close to Marienplatz, which is the city center, and is full of kids buying Harry Kane jerseys. This is the only equivalent I can remember from living in Munich is Jürgen Klinsmann joining, right? When everyone bought his number 18. I would say about 50% of the jerseys sold that day must have been Harry Kane shirts. So the madness continues into that. And then he steps onto the field ahead of the Super Cup, just, the pitch inspection, what they always do. And it was already so loud with Harry Kane shouts throughout. And so it was just utter madness. And then, of course, Bayern Munich got smashed in the Super Cup, and the first trophy is already gone, Stefan.
Yeah, I think he might have to get used to being called Eri rather than Ari, depending on accents in Munich these days. It was a huge kind of festival of kind of fun. Leipzig obviously did their best to kind of spoil that, but I think obviously Bayern Munich fans are still delighted that they finally have this number 9 in their team. But as we know, the fun only lasts so long in Bayern if you're not putting the ball in the back of the net, if you're not winning trophies. And, if we kind of get down to the kind of meat of this, we have to kind of discuss why he's chose to move to Bayern Munich and why Bayern Munich have chose to spend a record transfer fee on him. So, Mario, why? I guess a very simple question. Why have these two, parties come together, and what do they have to achieve now?
Oh, he said it. He said it in the press conference on Sunday. So the day after the Super Cup, we were also there on location for that, and he stressed that being Tottenham is always going to be in his heart. It's the club of his childhood, that he's there for 20 years. But ultimately, he wants to test himself at the highest level. He wants to win titles. He wants to win the Champions League, and he feels that he can do this at Bayern Munich, right? And Bayern Munich. The reverse of that is that Bayern Munich are a club that want to win the Champions League every year. And there's sense that, okay, well, we tried it for a year without a number 9. That didn't work. So obviously we have to go back to the drawing board and bring back a number 9, right? So Harry Kane with a year delay is the Robert Lewandowski replacement. It's a very expensive replacement. I actually almost got the sense that both parties were almost uncomfortable with that 100 million euro fee. Harry Kane was asked by a German reporter whether being British, it makes it feel normal that someone paid 100 million euros. And he said, well, 100 million euros is still 100 million euros. That means that there's a big expectations on me and the expectations to deliver. And in the end of the day, I want to just pay back. And I thought that was a really humble statement in some ways. And of course, Bayern Munich then stressed, this is not the norm. This is something that we'll only do in exceptional circumstances. will not pay this kind of amount of money every day now, right? So I think that kind of shows you that there was a clear understanding, or is a clear understanding what this means. This is a partnership that is supposed to bring both parties to the highest level, and there's a determination that, you know, titles will come to Bayern, and finally titles will come to Harry Kane as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess that's what it kind of comes down to, isn't it? Not only is there hope they can win titles, but there's now an expectation, isn't there, Manu? Because not only, you know, historically are Bayern Munich a club who kind of rate themselves based on how close they are to winning the Champions League, but they also have that final in Munich next season, don't they? Do you think that's something that the club are building towards? And obviously they must have given some sort of assurances to Kane that, you know, he's only here to win the Champions League. So I suppose if it's over the next 2 or 3 years that he sticks around, if he doesn't win the Champions League with Bayern, it's probably fair to say this transfer hasn't really worked out.
Yeah, no, that's 100% fair to say. This is about the Champions League. You know, they have 4 years now to do this. It's a 4-year contract, and there's various options and mechanisms in this deal that could lengthen or shorten it. But, you know, the plan is 4 years, and the plan is to win the Champions League. Of course, you know, Harry Kane was asked about the final this year, which is in London. I think Bayern Munich would like to win that. I think they want to win every Champions League. But when you look at the game against Leipzig, I think this team isn't close to the finished product, and it might take a couple more transfer windows to get the side to where they want to be. But ultimately, when the first ball gets kicked in the 2024-2025 season, which ends with the final at the Allianz Arena, Bayern Munich want to be ready to win that final, because, of course, last time they hosted the final in 2012, it went wrong in the worst possible way, right? When they lost to Chelsea in penalty kicks, even though they were by far the most dominant team. And I think that there is a sense that they want to fix what happened, what they call the final daheim, which is Bavarian for at home, and that Harry Kane could help that, which is, of course, ironic because they were defeated by a team from London, and they signed a London boy to maybe fix that historical wrong. But that's the goal. That is the goal for them to win the Champions League. If not this year, definitely in 2025.
Yeah, well, also Bayern have good memories of winning the Champions League in London, so they'll probably look at that with some sort of good fortune. But until then, we have to wrap this up. But of course, people can obviously keep on top of all of Harry Kane's success and his performances in the Bundesliga on our Transfermarkt website. The player profile offers all his goals, all his assists, and a lot more stats as well as any other transfer dealings to do with Bayern Munich, and who Tottenham could sign to replace him between now and the end of the transfer window. So to keep on top of all that, please do check out transfermarkt.com, .co.uk, .us, wherever you are. And of course, click subscribe on this video, like this video, and let us know what you think and how you think Harry Kane will get on in Munich. But until then, we'll speak to you next time. Cheers.